You know, in hindsight, I feel like Valdi's class could have been really cool if it let us summon mechs to fight with, but I guess they just really wanted you to have another reliable early game healer class. War Medic is a class that, thanks to its unique properties, can function a bit like a mix of many aspects of all of the best healer classes. Being one of only two Kevis type healers, the class gets access to a lot of good master art options that can make the kit stand out compared to other healers, and potentially worth using. In this video, I want to discuss War Medic, talk about its strengths and weaknesses, and discuss how to use it most effectively. And as always, if you enjoy my guides and want to see more guides for Xenoblade 3, make sure to subscribe to the channel because it does help out so much. Let's get into it. Being a healer-based class, War Medic is probably best on Uni since she has the highest base healing stat, but Lons was the S-rank aptitude character for the class, and I can think of no better use for my large bulky guy than making him a healer. As such, in this video I will be using him on Lons, but honestly it doesn't really matter too much who you choose. The first art for the class is Heal Bullet. This is pretty much just a standard healing art that will heal in an area around the user of the move. Now, the area is not really that big, so you may have to dash around a bit to ensure the characters that need it the most are getting the benefit out of the art. It's on a fairly short cooldown of 13 seconds, and is usually a decent art to bring along. Multi-Blast is the only attack art the kit even has for regular art options, and it has an alright power multiplier of 340%, and will heal nearby allies at 100% of healing power, which in this case is 590 on Lons. The cooldown is a fairly long 22 seconds, meaning it likely won't be up too often to be the most useful ability, but if you want a bit of a secondary heal to go with the Healing Bullet, it works just fine. Do not run this over Healing Bullet because this class does no damage anyway. Advanced Cooldown is a field effect art that more importantly will charge up the talent gauge when used. It also grants defense up to anyone standing inside the circle, which can be nice to let everyone take less damage while inside the circle, which can always be helpful to have. It's on a 13-second cooldown, which is decent, but unfortunately not all of that spammable because Kevis class arts. Still, if you want your talent art up more often, this art is one of the more important ones to use. Cure Bullet is a pretty unique effect that will clear debuffs on allies in an area around the user, while also granting the debuff barrier buff, which will shield you from one additional debuff. This is a pretty situational art, but in the right fights it can be extremely beneficial. It is on a pretty high cooldown, but in any fight where enemies can be inflicting dangerous debuffs on you or strong bleed effects, this is an art worth bringing. And finally, Vital Bullet gives the delayed healing buff in an area of effect around the user. Delayed healing will automatically restore health when an ally gets low on health, making this a good option in fights where enemies might be able to burst you through healing windows, and as such it acts as a pretty decent last resort healing method. It's on a fairly long 20-second cooldown. Unfortunately, War Medic does not have the best cooldowns, making it have a bit of a tougher job being a pure healer compared to the strong Agnes-based pure healer class. That said, it's still most likely the second best option in this role, and can get a lot of benefit out of its master art since it is Kevis-based. It can take some of the best arts from Signifer and Troubadour, such as Aureole from Signifer, which can apply the random buff to yourself, and Resonant Flag, which will grant all of your buffs to all allies. And this can give it some nice utility. Now, obviously, it will not be able to spam buffs as fast as Signifer, but it is nice to have a bit of a secondary healer that can do some of the same thing, since passing buffs is still a very, very strong effect. If you run the skill that lets you have a second field effect, you can also use Ring of Roses, which is a very nice way to reduce art cooldowns of both yourself and allies if they stand within the circle. Now, obviously, you are not going to be able to spam arts at the same rate as Troubadour, but being able to do all three of these things at once can make it a good secondary healing option. Being able to pass buffs is useful, having decently strong heals is great, and being able to restore the arts of your allies and yourself is still a very nice effect. There are a couple of other master arts you may want to consider, such as Hornet, which can restore even more health if you find yourself in need of more healing power. Aquamind can be a very useful stance to have in order to increase your own art recharge a bit further and grant regenerate effect to all of your allies. And you can also take the burst skill from Troubadour if you need that as a combo support ability. The standard talent art for the kit is Technical Heal, which acts as a pretty effective burst heal that you can get fairly quickly with a recharge gauge of 5. You could also consider running Healing Ring from Medic Gunner or even Cry of Faith to grant 2 buffs to all allies, and if you really feel like it and think you can make the cooldowns work, you could try running Glittering Melody from Troubadour. This class has one major weakness. It is the art cooldowns, making it a bit more difficult to always be healing and to effectively use your cooldowns to charge up your talent art more. But being able to consolidate so many roles can still be very useful, and as such I think it can be a pretty decent healer, if not the strongest in any aspect. The skills for the class include Recovery Engine, where if you remove a debuff, you will boost your healing power by 50% up to a maximum of 150%. This can allow you to have larger heals if you are able to remove debuffs during combat, which can be useful depending on the situation. Rescue License will increase health restored when you revive an ally by 40%. This can be very nice to have because it does stack with the other Revive ally gems that could allow you to restore an ally basically with full health, or allow you to run an additional gem instead of that one. This is a decent skill to have and pretty worth it for a healer considering allies can die very easily in this game, especially with Area of Effect killing your attackers where you can't really do much about it if they get one-shot. Healing License will automatically boost the amount of health you heal when you use healing arts by 30%. This means every heal that you do will be multiplied by another 30% before healing party members by that amount. The skill is effective in making War Medic pretty good as a pure healer as stated before, since it gives it larger heals than basically all classes but one, just with a bit more cooldown issues. Antibody System is the final skill, and this just shortens durations of debuffs on self by 50%. I honestly think this is probably the most useless skill because you can just clear your own debuffs with one of your arts, and that'll also increase your own healing power, making this feel like a pretty redundant skill. All four of his skills kind of work in tandem and make a better healer, but don't really accomplish much else, so his class skills feel a bit weak, and it would be nice if they could offer a bit more utility. For master skills, I am running All About Support, which increases the number of field effects that I can place, and this allows me to run both Advanced Cooldown and Ring of Roses, and this also allows me to charge up my Talent Art faster. Swift Song is a pretty standard party support ability that will increase accuracy and evasion by 20%. As the healer, it is your job to support, so this is a very useful skill to have if you do not have it on another healer, and you should always make sure to have the skill in your party, and also make sure to have the skills that increase healing by 15% and reduce damage by 15%, and have the skill that increases party damage by 30% and reduces enemy block rate by 15%. All of these support skills are very important to have, especially against the strongest enemies. Since I am running the Oriole and Resonant Flag combination, I'm going to use Strengthening Gambit to ensure that I get even longer duration on buffs that I cast myself. You could also consider Eternal Formation to increase field effect duration by 50%, which can be helpful with Ring of Roses and with Advanced Cooldown. For gems, I am running the two gems that increase both the power and duration of buff effects by 50%. This is pretty standard on healers that are focused on applying buffs, and as such, makes it a great option with my current setup. I am also running Life-Saving Expertise over Soothing Breath since it would be better to boost the speed of revival, since I already get a boost to the amount of health I restore when I revive an ally. For this class in particular, there are not many other great options for the class of the gems. You get no benefit out of auto-attacking more since it will not help your base cooldowns, and there's no need to want anything defensive or for damage. For accessories, I am running the Solace Rings for the strongest boost to healing possible. This will ensure that all of the heals I do will be as large as they possibly can be and keep my party alive more efficiently. I don't really know if there's much more to say about this. Run this if you are running a War Medic because it's going to be more efficient on the War Medic because the larger heals it will have compared to most other healing classes. Devotional Necklace is also a really great accessory to have because it'll recharge all of your arts fully when you revive an ally, meaning you can instantly heal them if needed, and also get your longer cooldown arts back instantly for more fusion art usages, or just to be able to heal your party more efficiently. I like this a lot on basically every healer that isn't Troubadour, so you'll probably see me run it pretty often. Fraternal Badge will boost recharge speed by 50% when a defender is not targeted. I'm running a risky party setup right now with only one real tank since Ashura is kind of just a hero character, so I can get a lot of benefit out of this if other characters get targeted, and reduce the cooldowns even further, which is very beneficial for a War Medic. I cannot think of too many other better options for this healer. Brute Memory could be an option as an accessory if you want to make sure you get to survive for an additional 5 seconds when you get lowered to 1 HP, but you likely will not be getting aggro super often with this class easily, so it would only really help with Area of Effect. Since this class is pretty strong at pure healing, it functions well with healers that aren't as good at that, but offer more useful support effects. With all that done, let's take a look at how to use War Medic practically. You know, I feel like I don't fight those super boss enough in these videos, so I guess I will do it here. The super boss is a bit of a pain. I feel like the visual clarity is not that great just because you're in the water, but I think hopefully I'll be able to easily see what's going on here as far as what I'm doing, since it's just going to be healing and kind of just giving buffs to allies and, you know, giving everyone that Ring of Roses recharge if they decide to stand close enough to me at the very least. So Olivia Lord Imperio on hard mode. Can't even see his face. So I kind of saved my healing arts at the start there because there's no real reason to use them yet, obviously. And then I give myself a debuff barrier once I'm able to, and let the cooldown start ticking up for those again. I place down advanced cooldown to charge up my talent art some. And I'm going to use Orioles sometimes when I can. The good thing about Heal Bullet being the override, or like the main art that's Orioles linked to, is you don't have to watch the long Oriole animation if you use a fusion art of them. So that can actually be one extra benefit that Signifer actually doesn't have, which is kind of funny, honestly. You don't actually have to watch the animation. So, typically, though, the main thing that you want to do with this class is, well, first of all, revive if your character dies. But you kind of just want to save your heals for when you think an ally is going to need them, or when you see an ally low on health, and then kind of like swim close to them or walk close to them, and use one of your AoE healing arts. Technical heal will heal the party regardless of where you're at, so it can be a good burst heal option just in an emergency. Now, ironically, I'm not really able to show off the kit too well because Senna is just that good at breaking, and I'm probably going to have to show off a slightly different part of a different fight where I just remove her from the party, so you can kind of see the healing potential when an enemy is actually effectively attacking you. Because this is a video about War Medic, not about how good Ogre is. In the meantime, since there's no reason not to, I'm kind of just spamming fusions and just charging up interlink level because I might as well if this is going to keep happening. And everyone is full health now. We've got all of these buffs, so that's really nice. I can keep using Oriole and Resonant Flag in the meantime when there's nothing else to do. I can use Heal Bullets when it's on a fairly low cooldown and he hasn't been able to attack in a while. And he finally gets an attack off, but it does nothing, probably because of an evasion buff I had, or decoy even, I don't know. So, yeah, he's not doing very well currently. Maybe he'll finally get an attack off now, and he does. So he finally does some damage to us. So I'm going to go ahead and use my healing arts. Senna's getting kind of low on health, so I want to try to help her out. Mio's also getting low. So technical heal, it was good to use that right there, because that heals both of them up at a good time. I'm able to use Heal Bullet when it's back up, and now Mio's at full health. Now Noah's in a little bit of danger, but he's not the target anymore. Mio is effectively taking aggro currently. So I should have time to heal Noah before anything super dangerous happens to him. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the Heal Bullet again. I do not need to be using Cure Bullet nearly as often as I am. I'm just kind of using it for the fusions. I already have Interlink level 3 at this point as well, so I could have just stopped there. Ironically, ever since I've been doing kind of strategies like this, and since I'm trying to show off the main class, I don't think about Interlink as much. I could have definitely done that by now, but I'm trying to show off how War Medic works. I don't even swap characters nearly as often when I'm making these videos. I usually, when I play, I swap characters far more often than I'm doing here. Right now, I'm just kind of holding on to all my arts before realizing, hey, I can just use the buff arts right now if I can't do anything else. Because I don't want to, like, waste my arts on anything in particular. But if I want to just get my art cooldowns faster, I might as well spam buff arts with Oriole and Resonant Flag to just make sure I'm doing something at all times. This enemy apparently has the absolute worst break resistance ever if you have Ogre. Maybe you can get it 100% of the time. I just go into a chain attack right here, and War Medic and chain attacks can do basically very similar things with my setup that Signifer can. Since I have no attacking moves on my War Medic, I can just kind of use Resonant Flag to instantly pass Power Charge at any time. I tie into Signifer in this video, but I usually don't run him as that, so he has kind of a whack art setup that is not the one I recommend running, so I wasn't really able to take super big advantage of him. Since War Medic can't get Shadow Eye to pass at the same time, nor can it create its own power charge, it's definitely not as good at that, but if you do pull power charge from something else, it can be useful at the same time. So, this is kind of just a standard chain attack. We probably don't even need to watch it, so I'll probably just move on to the next little section here. Because War Medic's not going to really be doing much in this chain attack that is worth showing off. It's just going to be doing kind of pass buffs and heal and chain attack if needed, because that is something it can do. And that's pretty standard. So let's move on to a fight where I actually show off the healing potential a little bit better. Against all better judgment, I'm running a party setup that literally cannot break at all. So we'll be able to kind of see the healing potential against this thing on hard mode. Now, one thing that sucks is when your other healer instantly dies at the start of battle. That's usually not very good. But we're able to revive him, and the good thing about reviving is that we instantly get all of our arts back, so I'm kind of able to go into my heals here and kind of help out. Unfortunately, Noah was way too far away from that one heal. He doesn't get targeted by the AoE yet, so he's still fine for now. Everyone else I'm working on healing up. Ring of Roses and advanced cooldown's really nice for me to stand in to get a defense buff and my arts to recharge faster so I can heal a bit more. I still wasn't close enough to Noah somehow, so you can see kind of how limited that AoE range is. Luckily, Technical Heal will heal everyone no matter where everyone in the party is. Senna got one-shotted at one point, it looks like. And thankfully, with the defense field, they're not going to take too much damage from that attack. Unfortunately, Noah gets targeted with a lot of those all the way over there, so we're going to have to revive him as well. But reviving gives me all my arts back, so I can heal and do a bunch of other cool things again. And now I'm going to heal Mio if I can. Also got my technical heal up, so I'm going to get her to full health with this. So this is hard mode against what's supposed to be the hardest super boss. And I'm only running one tank right now. Well, I am running Asher as well, but she's not really doing much, since the hero characters are just going to always be weaker than your main party. And we're still doing okay. Now, sometimes Mio doesn't always keep aggro perfectly, but we still are doing alright. Senna has aggro now, so I'm trying my best to keep her as healthy as possible. It's kind of difficult though because she can easily just get one shot if Ultra Play Bite comes through and she doesn't evade it. But the normal attack she actually can survive, like that one there. I don't have my heal up right now though. I probably used it to heal Mio. But I have technical heal and my normal heal up right now, so I can heal her to full, but I'm saving technical heal just in case she can survive anything else. And I also have heal bullet back up again. We get the evade on the party, probably with decoy on that AoE move. That's one of the more dangerous moves it has, so I'm lucky we didn't have to succumb to that. I use debuff barrier again. Now I don't know if I talked about it earlier, but I think I used that to clear debuffs earlier in this fight. So that's something you can do. And Ultra Play Bite does 13,000 damage to Senna, and there was nothing I could do to help her there because her max health is only like 5,000. And that is one of the reasons that you want your tanks to always have aggro, because you can't really do much if a DPS just instantly dies. Now, if I was running more than one tank, I could probably keep aggro easier, since if Mio does take damage, and she's going to lose aggro because that's how aggro works. So only running one tank is technically a little bit dangerous, but, you know, I like playing risky and doing fun things. Now, at this point, we're getting to a similar part of the fight where I'd probably just want to chain attack soon. And especially now that he's enraged and Mio died and no longer has aggro, so he'll probably just take his turns like trying to target the rest of the team. So basically, at this point, I chain attack and then end the fight. There's really not much more to it, so I don't feel the need to show off much of anything else here either. As stated, War Medic is not really a class that is very great in chain attacks. It's more like a tool to get you to chain attack easier with its strong healing, but it's not going to accomplish much in chain attacks compared to other sources of healing or all your damage dealers or anything like that. It's an okay class, but since I'm not running any attacking moves, I don't really see the need to show off just another chain attack kill you've probably seen a million times by now. So I think that's probably a good enough showcase here to show that you can kind of keep your party alive even on the hardest difficulties. So the class is pretty good. It has a lot of good effects. I like how well-rounded it can be and like the jack-of-all-trades things it can offer to a team with art recharge, some buffs, and good healing. All in all, I think that's going to cover it for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed and have learned something from watching this video. And please look forward to future guides. I have a couple other things planned besides just class guides that I want to post in the future, including a video about heroes that I know everyone has been asking about and how their kind of different strengths are, because it works a little bit different than their default classes, obviously. So with that being said, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that other stuff to support me if you want. And as always, thank you guys for watching and have a wonderful and blessed day. I will see you back here soon.